Morning, everybody. I'm Kate from What Kate Made. Welcome to this table centre demonstration. So, if you are having your tea party and you want to make some simple decorations for the middle of your table, as well as making a beautiful and simple decoration, you can also upcycle as well. So you can reuse, reduce, recycle. That's a big thing with me. So I'll just give you a quick show and tell of what I'm going to make today, and I've also got a few other ideas that we won't have time to make, but you can try yourself simple things. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the vase from a jar. Now this is the one I made yesterday. Excuse my flowers. I'm currently self-isolating, so I'm not allowed to go out and buy flowers. So that's a bit hard. I've used on this one, I'll take the flowers out and then you can see. So it is a glass jar, a jam jar. I have put, this is Hessian ribbon. So I've covered it with Hessian ribbon. And then I've just embellished it with some ribbon and some lace and a little bit of, I'll bring it closer. This is just a braid I made out of cotton yarn. On the front, I've made this little flower from lace and a big pink button, and I've left the tassels from the braid just so it adds a little bit of decoration to it. That's really simple. All you would do then is put in your flower arrangement. So as I said, I've only got silk flowers that I scrounged about because I'm not allowed to go out and buy new ones. And so that would be your table centre. The one I'm going to show you, demonstrate with, is slightly different because the jar's a bit smaller, but it's just what I had in the house. As for the tin can, if you want something that's a little bit more, you can decorate it rustic style. If you want something that's a little bit more glamorous on your tea table, this is the tin can. Now this is a coffee can. You get the coffees the instant coffees that are kind of like brewed. You can see it's the tin can. And what I've done is I've covered it with this lovely fabric, which is sort of purple with a little sparkle in it. Edged it with black lace. I've used a burgundy ribbon and some silver cord. And then this is a button off a jacket. So one of the things I do when I upcycle fabrics from clothes is save all the buttons. And I will buy something from a charity shop just because it's got interesting buttons on it. So that's your more glamorous one. And that one actually suits the flowers much better because they're very similar. So as you can see, that's very glamorous for the centre of your table. So we'll get straight into it with the jar. So if you're working along with me and you've got a jar ready, just a couple of things about jars. As you can see, this one's a bit shorter. You may struggle to get all the glue off it. There is a little bit left on this one. One of the top tips I can give you about glue is boiling water. Now, you will have to be careful with boiling water in glass, but with the tins it works really well. It heats the glue to make it soft and then you can get it off a lot easier, but just really be careful you don't burn yourself. Now, what I'm going to do with this one, slightly different to the other one, because this is shorter, I'm not going to use the Hessian ribbon that I had. I'm going to use some jute twine instead, and I'm going to wrap it round the glass. So what I want to do is put a band of lace, some wrapped twine, some ribbon, button, flower maybe, and I'll show you as I go. So, as usual, I'm going to point the camera downwards so you can see what I'm doing as I chat away. So just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, now because I'm putting you down, I probably won't be able to see any comments you make, but I'd really love to see people's comments because it's great when I can watch it back, and I promise I will answer all your questions and comments. So if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments and I'll try and answer them afterwards. If you're working along with me, I hope that you're going to be able to do that. So the first thing you need to do is measure your jar so that you're getting roughly accurate measurements for your bits and pieces that you're going to put on. So measure it round. I'm using inches just because it's easier for me. So that is roughly 6 inches. So I would say 6.5 to have a slight overlap. And then also the height, because you might want to find the middle of your jar. I would discount the lid because you're not going to do anything with that, but measure your height from the edge of the two beveled bits, and that's 2.5. So that, I've forgotten the first one now, 6, wasn't it? 6.5 by 2.5. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to start by putting around my jar some of this wide lace, and I know I want it 6.5 inches. So I'll get my tape measure again. Not very good with tape measures. I usually use a ruler, but it's too big to put on camera. So 6.5 inches comes to there, and you want to cut it there. Do you like my spotty tablecloth? Because I'm going to be using the glue gun, I'm protecting my table with this white clean tablecloth. It's a very good idea to not get glue on your dining room table. So just put that pin back in there so that doesn't all unravel. Now I've measured that wrong. How have I measured that wrong? I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way and just go round. How embarrassing. Live on camera. So what you want is the long enough length with just a slight overlap. Now, you can use double-sided tape like this, which has a peel-off backing to stick things on, but I'm just going to use the glue gun just because it's a little bit more accurate. Now, I would do this by eye normally, but if you want to be precise, you're looking for the middle, which is around about there. So you're going to start with your first dot of glue there. So because I'm starting a new stick, it's a little bit, there we go. And glue that on top. If you're using lace like me, probably use a solid bit of it. Be very careful if you're using autumn lace because the glue gun will burn your fingers. And then about 1/4 of a turn and put another dot of glue. You don't need to glue it all the way because the glue will you know, seep through eventually. Try and keep it as straight as you can. And another 1/4 of a turn. More glue. Don't worry about these extra bits of glue because they will disappear when you and you can just peel them off. So the last dot of glue is going right on the overlap. You see that? And that. Ow! Told you about the hot glue. That's the first bit done. So your overlap is there. So we're going to keep the overlap to the front on everything we do because that's where we're going to put our embellished flower or something later. Okay, so that's the first piece of your decoration. Now you could stop there. And because of the lace, this would be really nice and the size of the jar with a tea light in it. But we're not going to stop there because we want it slightly more elaborate. We're going for the rustic farmhouse look. So the next thing I'm going to put on it is the jute string. Now this, I've had this for ages. It's just garden string. You can get this coloured now. You could use yarn of some sort if you have knitting yarn and you wanted a colour. So again, we're going to start at the front and I'm going to do the bottom bit first. And what I'm going to do is put 3, maybe 4 lengths of yarn. I'll probably take it to the bottom when I'm thinking about it. So then you put another dot of glue. I'm going to start underneath and then we can decide as we go how far we want to go. Okay, so again, being very careful with the hot glue. Just turn your jar and glue as you go. I'm going to cut a length of this to make it so then it's not, I'm not trying to work with the whole ball of string. It doesn't matter if your length runs out before you finish because you can always just attach another length as long as you finish everything on the same spot here. Then it's all hidden. So again, it's just dabs of glue. It's not massive amounts, just little dabs, just enough to hold the string in place. Put the string right up against the lace. And be careful with your fingers, as I said. Whoops. My glue gun's quite a short cable on it, so I've got about 16 different extension cables trying to keep it from, so I can reach it. Now, as you can see, I am just putting tiny little dabs of glue. It's enough to hold it and not enough to make a mess. So when you get back round to the beginning, you can either cut it off, but I like to work in a spiral. So you put a dab there, then take the string down and underneath, and then you just keep working round. I'm just going to put a couple of lines on this one, I think, because you would rather see the finished product than watch me gluing, I would think. But you can just do as much or as little as you like. It just adds a little bit more finish to it, I think. And I'm very into the farmhouse rustic look, so I quite like the lace and the twine together. And as I said to you before, I've been self-isolating. I'm not positive, but I've got pinged by the infamous app. So I think that'll do for that one. I'm not going to use my good scissors because I'll get glue on them. That might just need another dot of glue to hold it. Yeah, I got pinged. So I'm self-isolating, which I'm finding very annoying. So I'll start, and I'll put another couple of matching layers on the top. Slightly larger dot of glue to start it. Again, be careful of your fingers and the hot glue. After years of crafting, I have virtually no fingerprints now. So I don't know where you all are, but I hope you've been safe in this weather. I mean, today here in the northwest, I'm up near Blackpool. It is cloudy, and we are expecting rain this afternoon, for which my garden will be eternally grateful. I don't do heat, so I've been very uncomfortable the last week. I haven't been outdoors hardly at all, apart from isolating. I've not been out anyway. So I don't know what the weather's like with you. I know in the southwest and southeast they've had terrible thunderstorms and flooding. So I hope if anybody's watching from that neck of the woods that they've kept safe. We should have done, nearly done. Just one more. Get round to this last turn, and then we can move on to the next element. So I'm just going to cut that off there. Okay, and then there. So you can see now we've got the twine and the ribbon. So that's quite pretty now. So ribbon, I meant lace. So the next thing I think I'm going to put on is some ribbon. The other one was a pink theme that I did, but this one I'm going to go with with this nice ribbon. This is a nice cross grain ribbon, quite narrow, but as you can see, it's got lovely little flowers on it. So if you were making table centers with this, you could perhaps match your flowers to this ribbon. So again, measure it. We'll stick with measuring around the jar, shall we? Since my motto has always been measure twice, cut once, then cut again. All right. So I'm going to start it again in the same place. Same way, just a little bit of glue. If you decided to go with double-sided tape, by the time you get to this stage of your third element, your double-sided tape might not stick. Now this is going to be, it's easier to get in the middle because I am following the middle of the lace. So again, a quarter turn. Slightly less danger of soldering your fingers with the ribbon because it doesn't have holes in it. And the last one to seal it there. They're like slightly less chance of burning your fingers, and then I burn mine. Okay, so we're nearly there. All we want now is a central embellishment to cover up all the joins. So on this one, I used a big ribbon, a big button, sorry, and I made a little lace flower to go on it. So I might do that again. The other thing you can do with buttons is layer them up, which is quite nice. So I've got green buttons because of the blue and green on the ribbon. So if you put your button, so you can put another button on top, so you can make like a layered embellishment like that. I'm going to do that today because, as I say, I want to do the I want to show you the little lace flower that I made. I'm just thinking that maybe we need something to cover these joints. And what I might go with is a little tassel made from the jute twine. And the way I can't find the end of it now. There it is. And the way we would do that is to get several lengths of twine. We'll maybe go that long. So I'm going to cut 3. Maybe 4. No, 3 might be enough. And then I'm going to twist them like that. No, that's not going to work. So maybe a little bit long. I'll have a think about that as I go. Right, we'll go back to the button and the flower. So this is my button, which nicely matches the ribbon colour, background colour. And I've got some more lace, again cream lace, but this is a narrower one. And this is what I'm going to make the little flower out of. It's so easy. You just get yourself a length of lace that's about 4 or 5 inches. That should be enough. And the first you'll need a needle and thread. And I've already threaded mine because if you've watched me before, you'll know it's painful watching me thread a ribbon, try to thread a needle. So wait, just attach it at one end by doing a couple of little stitches to anchor your thread. And then simply a running stitch along one edge. Lace makes it easy because it's got lots of holes in it. But you could do this with ordinary ribbon as well. So I might show you that if we've time. So just keep running your running stitch along. Glue on my fingers is sticking to the ribbon. You see what I'm doing? I'll bring it a bit close. Oh, keep going the wrong way with this camera. So then the aim is to gather it all along one edge, and as you pull it tight, it will automatically put itself into a little rosette shape. I'll show just at the end now. So that's the last stitch. So then you just pull it and it will curl itself round. So you now want to just stitch the 2 ends together. Again, just a couple of little stitches will hold it. Say that. I said simple. I keep sticking myself with the needle, or the glue on my fingers is sticking. Right, so that's one stitch in, and you can see it's making the little flower shape. So then just stitch right a couple more stitches along the ends. We'll just pull it together at the top and then anchor it through to finish it off. And there's your little lace flower. Isn't that pretty? So you can either glue it to your button or you can sew it through your button. I'm just going to glue it because it'll save time and you won't have to watch me sewing. And now I've made a mess of that. Right, so just snip off your loose threads. Those are my glue scissors. Rubbish. Use my sharp scissors. There we go. That of glue. So we're going to put it as much as we can to cover the joins. So first goes the button. We'll see the glue will come up through the holes, but I wouldn't. You need to put just a little bit more to stick your flower on. So that looks lovely in the middle of there because it's still shows the button, but you've got that flower. Now, the final touch is another button. I didn't do this on my pink and one I made yesterday, but I'm going to put a tiny little button in the centre. So once again, a little dot of glue. It would be nice, maybe a pearl bead as well, or a green bead, but buttons were what I had to hand. There we go. And I think that finishes that off perfectly. And there it is. It's finished. Simple as that. So that would be your jar. Again, as I said, this one, because it's a shallower jar and it's got a wide top, would be really nice with a tea light in it if you wanted. But let me show you what it looks like with the flowers. Bits up forward a bit so you can see. So that's your table centre. That was easy, wasn't it? Now, the tin can one is very similar, but as I said, I'm going to show you the glamorous fabrics on that one. Before I start it, I'll show you a couple of other ideas that you can do. I don't know whether any of you watched me in the past, but I did a demonstration for the virtual village hall a couple of weeks ago on teacup crafts. And one of the things we made was this little candle holder. So can you see this? This is made out of, I'll just disassemble that bit. A teacup and its saucer, and you just glue them together at the bottom there. This is just done with hot glue because it's not going to go anywhere sort of outside or in the weather. Hot glue is fine. If you're wanting to glue things for outside, you need a stronger glue. And that just makes a very simple teacup candle holder. So I've added a candle. Might just flip you up a little bit so you can see a bit better. I did a candle and I've made a little flower wreath to go around it. So you would just put that around your candle and that makes a beautiful table centre. Silk flowers are just simply wired together. A lot come with wire stems anyway. So you just wire them into a long, this one into a long stem, and then I've just wound it round. So that's another idea you can make. Another thing that's very simple, just simply gluing cup and saucer together upside down. On a similar vein, I made this one, which has got a bit dusty when it's been sitting. Now this is 2 cups and saucers in the same way. Actually, the top one is a sugar bowl, so it hasn't got a handle on. So there's the cup and saucer, another saucer, and the sugar bowl on top. And again, you can just put in a little silk flower or real flowers. I mean, if you use real flowers, you could put a little block of oasis in there and do an arrangement if you're good at arranging flowers. I'm the daughter of a florist and I should be good at it, but I'm not. You could also add maybe like something like your little wreath around the other saucer, around both saucers. You could even put your candle in there if you wanted to. There are endless possibilities with teacups, and because they're teacups, they look nice on a vintage table. So those are just 2 other ideas that you could try. I will try and post some videos on my own page on Facebook of how to make those. Just a quick tutorial if you like. So I'll maybe get that done this afternoon. If you want to pop over to my page, if you just put into search at Facebook what Kate made, Kate's Design and Craft, you can see there will be other videos on there. Right, so let's move on to the tin can one. So this is the one I made yesterday. The light's not very good in here because it's a bit cloudy today. I have put the lights on, but as you can see, it's very glam. So what I'm going to do is I've got my can. Now that was the coffee can. This is the tin can. One thing I would say to you, because these days lots of cans are ring pulls, it had a very sharp edge. So I just got a bit of sandpaper and rubbed it along the edge just to get rid of the sharpness, because you don't want anybody to hurt themselves. And again, you want to measure it. And this time we'll try and be a bit more accurate. Would help probably if I'd written down the measurements. So it's the same measurement, top That's 4 inches. Cans tend all but the same size. If they're 400-gram ones. And then a round is 9. So 4 and 9. So you remember that and remind me when I get it wrong. Right, for fabrics, I'm going to use this lovely red silky fabric. It's part of a table runner. What I have done is I have used, and I can't see it now. Oh, there it is. This is iron-on interfacing. This is lightweight. I buy by the meter. I got this from Amazon, I think. One side is glue and one side is not glued. So what you do is you put it on your fabric, on the wrong side of your fabric, and you iron it on. It's probably best if you put a piece of cotton over the top so you don't end up sticking up to your iron. And what that does is stiffens it slightly, but also prevents it fraying. So when you cut it, you don't have to worry about frayed edges. So we said 4 inches for our can. I'm going to double check that because I don't trust myself now. If it's over or slightly under, it's no big deal because you can always put some more embellishment on to hide. That's wrong measurement. It's that way, isn't it? 4 inches. Okay. It's more of a problem if you get it longer because it's harder to trim off then. So that's my measurement that way. And my measurement this way was 9 inches. I'm going to give it slightly more so I can tuck the edge under. Right, so then we cut that. Cut it right up and then cut it across. These are my good fabric scissors. We don't use these for anything else in our house. That's why you can see I've cut several pairs of scissors because I always have an old pair for gluing. Now I'm hoping this is right. Oh, thank goodness for that, because I would have looked very silly if it wasn't. Now what I've done, because this is part of a table runner, it's still got the hemmed edge on, so I'm going to leave that so that can be where the last bit where I overlap. I'm going to start with the raw edge. As I say, the raw edge won't fray because it's got the interfacing on it. So back to the trusty glue gun, and you will need to put dots all the way down. Again, any residual label glue left on it from when you took the label off, you can remove that with a bit of hot water in the can and then just gently rub it off when it's cooled. So again, we're going a quarter turn. You don't have to put glue all over because it will look slightly bumpy through the fabric because the fabric is quite, trying to get your fabric so that it's as tight and neat as you can. And trying to keep it to the edges. The glue sets quite quickly, so you can give it a bit of a stretch. I'm going to just put one more line of glue there. It sounded a bit musical then. If you use the top edge as your guide, then you're less like, you'll have a bit of overlap at the bottom, but that will show less. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue along the edge of my folded fabric edge so that we get a nice tight seal, and then I'm going to push it round. Now I'm going to keep that at the back, but I'm going to have my other elements starting at the front and ending at the front, simply because you can cover them up a bit easier with the with whatever embellishment you put on. Okay, so next thing I've got in my collection here is this broad black ribbon, which I'm going to use, and I've got some gold ribbon that's got Christmas trees on, but it's going to be covered up, and a nice piece of a sort of organza ribbon. And the final touch, which I'm really, really pleased with, I disassemble a lot of jewellery to get myself beads, and I found this, which is, actually, you can see it better if I hold it against the pail. It's lovely. It's antiqued brass with lots of red stones set in it. So that is what I'm going to use to embellish. It does have a pendant thing on it, but I couldn't really get that off. I have an idea I might put some ribbon through it. So we're going to start with the gold ribbon. And my idea is to layer the ribbons up. So I'm going to have the gold, and because it's got Christmas trees on it, I want to cover the Christmas tree. So I'm going to cover them with the black. And I'm going to place the black just so the gold edge shows. I don't know whether you can see that on the camera. Can you see the gold edge just shows above it? And then on top of that, I'm going to layer my organza ribbon, which will look lovely when it's finished. Just nice and not too over the top. Okay, so we'll start with the gold. I'm going to just even that end off. I'm going to start opposite my seam. There's my seam, so I'm going to start at this side there, and I'm going to wrap that all the way around, overlap it slightly, and cut it. And again with the glue, just going to glue right down the middle so that I don't have any glue down the middle of the ribbon, so I don't have any glue showing at the edges. So a tiny dot of glue to start it there. And then again, every quarter turn, trying to keep it as evenly in the middle as you can. And stretching it a little taut as you go. Now, if I've cut this a little short, it shouldn't matter too much because I'm going to cover the ends up with, oh, look at that, spot on. I'm going to cover the ends with the embellishment, so that's perfect. And with this ribbon, it's got lines, so it's quite easy to line it up. Now, we're going to cover the Christmas trees with the black ribbon. This is a little more tricky. I'm just going to check I've got enough ribbon. I have, because you've got to line it up so that you can see gold on both sides. Right, so we'll start again as we usually do. It has a shiny side and a matte side, so we're going to go for the shiny side. Place that ribbon so that you can just see the gold edges on either side. Now this will fray, so I've left a bit on the end so that I can fold it over and put the fray bit underneath. Now, going very carefully, I'm going to put a little bit more glue in just because we don't want this to shift. We want it to be able to show the gold on either side. So I'm just going to maybe do 6 dots of glue instead of 4. As I said, I'm going very carefully. So as you can see, I can still see the gold. If you have black gold edged ribbon, that's a lot easier, I would say, than this. But it's, you know, use what you've got. This is what I had. And I don't like to go out and buy anything new for a project if I can help it. Now, as we get here, I'm going to cut this at about 1 centimetre wide over. And then I can fold it back on itself to create a nice edge and just overlap. We want the raw end inside basically, so I will glue the end there and hopefully let's just be careful and line it up. There we go. So that's the next stage. So you can just see the faint gold edge of that ribbon. Probably wouldn't have used much of that till Christmas again. So actually, by covering it up, it means it's made it a little bit more multi-purpose. I'm just going to try and tidy up some of these strings of glue off this. They will pull away when we're finished. Okay, so next thing is our next piece of ribbon, which is the organza. So again, I'm going to start that there. I'm just going to measure that I've got enough. And again, an overlap to where we can glue the hem inside. It will be covered a bit by the embellishments, but you know, better to be safe than sorry. And again, glue one end. Now this one, I'm not going to glue all the way around just because it's, as you can see, the glue shows through because it's a thin ribbon. So I'm just going to go all the way around back to the beginning, and then I'm going to fold the end under. All this, remember, will be hidden by our big piece of jewellery. One more dab of glue. Be very careful with this one because the glue will come through and burn your fingers. Right, so that's our ribbon binding done. This may move a little bit, but don't worry about it because it's quite secure. So our last element on this lovely, glamorous table centerpiece is our piece of jewellery. As I said, this has got the pendant top still on it. So what I might do is, I was thinking maybe threading some, this is a narrower black ribbon. I was thinking of maybe threading that through so it looks like a pendant, and then putting it on there and then taking the ribbon up over the top like that. So that's what I think I'll do. Just going to cut the ribbon. So first of all, I'll glue the pendant onto the front so that it hides all the ends. Might need a bit more generous glue than I've used previously. So I'm going to put 3 dots there. I'm just running out of glue now. And there. And then I'm going to place that element on it. Press and hold until it's set. And then we're going to take these 2 ends up and we will glue them on the inside. So if we measure the angle we want them at, and then put the glue on the inside. Like so. And then the other one. Oh, glue on my fingers. That was hot. I'm getting all stuck up now, in the words of Elvis. Right. Give me a second to get rid of all this glue. That's the only problem with hot glue guns is you get a lot of strands. But took the ends in. I think, apart from the odd bits of glue, that is finished. What do you think? Still getting glue. So that will be nice with a sort of maybe a red and black flower decoration in it. Okay, so that's that. I'll turn you back up now. Hello. What did you think? As again, I said, they're very simple, but they are very effective, and they are green, recyclable. Everything in this everything in this decoration has been recycled. The ribbons have come off presents, or you know, I get a lot of ribbon from a lady who has a pony and gets lots of rosettes, and she says far more than she can display, so she gives me them. So those are our 2 simple table decorations. Farmhouse rustic with the glass jar, glamorous with the tin and the silk. Hope you're impressed. Right, so that is us for today. I am doing another demonstration in 2 weeks, I think, and that's going to be decorations for your room and table for your tea party made from paper doilies. So once again, something very simple. You'll only need paper doilies, glue, scissors, maybe some string. And that's us. Thank you for watching. please leave a comment. Go over and visit my page. I'll post a link to it in the comments here. You'll find a lot of other ideas there. Over the next week, I will post some videos of how to make the other two items that I showed you, the candle holder and the stacked teacup. And that's me. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.